There is something that many photographers do wrong, which results in them not taking the great perfect street photos that they actually want to take. This has to do with photography workshops and also with street photography videos here on YouTube, like the one you are watching right now. And it also has to do with the big misconception that you always need a camera or a smartphone to practice street photography. But more on that later. I want to tell you a story, but first I have a request for you. If you want to see more videos like this, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell button. So, the story I wanted to tell you. As a student, I was very bad at math. I always brought home very bad grades in math and physics, which also meant that I had to repeat one grade. So, my parents sent me to a tutor. I was there once a week, and while he explained the solutions to me, everything seemed logical and simple. But I failed again at the next school exam. What happened? I thought that the tutoring sessions would be enough for me. Had I practiced at home and tried to understand the solutions? No. And it was just a mistake. Without giving myself time to practice, there was no learning effect. The same applies to street photography. Look at this famous photo of Cartier-Bresson. You probably all know it, a brief moment captured for all eternity with photographic precision. How did Cartier-Bresson create such a good street photo that still inspires many photographers almost 100 years later? Well, I doubt that there were street photography workshops in 1932, let alone video courses. The solution simply lies in regular practice. As you may know, I give photo coaching sessions. I once had a customer who took street photography coaching with me in Munich so that she could take better photos on her upcoming trip to Japan. She had only recently bought a Leiter and had only rarely actively done street photography. This might work to some extent. You can copy the workshop teacher's way of working, then apply it in situations similar to the ones you had at the workshop. But if you are challenged by different lighting situations, a different culture, and an unfamiliar situation at the same time, it can quickly become stressful. And unfortunately, stress doesn't lead to good photos in most cases. So, it's important to practice composition, reaction skills, and technique in the familiar, maybe also boring environment of the place where you live. So that when you are on street photography vacation in New York, Tokyo, or Paris, you no longer have to think about the function of your camera or the interaction of ISO and aperture, but only have the composition in mind. When you're in this fantastic location for street photography, you're putting yourself under far too much pressure, which can be frustrating when good photos fail due to the technical implementation. Regular practice is crucial to being able to take the best possible photo when a good moment comes. I've noticed this in myself. Since I started making YouTube videos, I've taken street photos less often than before. Because we all have just a limited amount of time in our lives, I noticed that I was no longer getting the results I wanted to have with some photos, especially in situations where I had to be quick. I consciously set aside times without filming and restarted taking photos on my own, on the streets, like I did before. And just having my camera with me again at all times, so I don't miss any opportunities. This way I slowly noticed how I was getting fast again with the camera when it mattered most. Now you're going to say, I don't want to carry my camera around all the time. Maybe now is the time to get a small compact camera like the Fuji X100V or a Ricoh GR3 or a Leica Q that you can simply store in your jacket pocket. On the way to work, shopping, or every walk with your dog, you'll know exactly where to reach if you see something interesting. It is important that you only keep the process in mind and not the goal. If you take really bad photos, that's great, because you can learn from this so that you can change something next time. Be glad you made the mistake now and not later when it matters in New York or Tokyo. But it's even easier than having a compact camera in your jacket pocket. Just take out your phone and use it to practice composition and finding the right frame. Your cell phone also functions as a kind of notepad. If you have found a particularly cool composition and image section in one place, you can return to that place later with your camera. But it's even easier than with a camera or cell phone. Just take your hands and form a rectangle with them. Now you have a section of a photo that you could take at this location. This means you can practice composition and image design without any aids. The same thing works with a cut-out piece of cardboard. So if you take part in a photography workshop or a photo walk with experienced street photographers, it can be a boost for your photography skills. But the most important thing takes place before and after these events. True street photography is to be found and made in everyday life when you are alone, without any people. Because that is where you are most inconspicuous and where the best photos are taken. The same applies to YouTube videos. You don't have to watch 100 how-to street photography videos to take good photos yourself. Just go out, grab your camera, your smartphone, and your hands and work on yourself. You will see it will pay off. Happy shooting. See you in the next video. Your Oliver.